So now let's go press the part file. Again, open it. Remember guys, a key thing to remember when you are working on this is what? Is right away to check your units. Here is where you change your units. And also if you want to edit your documents settings, go back to annotation and make sure you change this as well in your standards. So if it's you're using ANSI over here, make sure to use ANSI over here and vice versa. So now we're going to talk about this little icon right over here called relations, which is blacked out. Why is it blanked out right now? It's because we don't have a sketch that's currently using anything. So if I go just press sketch and I choose my plane like before, front, then I use the space bar like I'd like to do and do middle. It's in the middle again. I didn't have to do that extra piece. Let's go choose this circle again. Click the circle. Now, once I have the circle placed, you'll notice I do have the option for relations, where I can add a relation, I can display, and then fully define sketches, which I don't recommend you guys use always. It's not, it's a fast way of doing it, but it just adds randomness just to finish it. So let's go add a relation. You'll see that you have only relations that are available to that piece. So right now, because I only have a circle, the only thing I have available for relation is the fixed option. So by doing that, my drawing becomes fully defined. Why? Because I pretty much fixed it. It's like I nailed it to the wall. And it's not going to go nowhere. There's no dimensions, nothing. So this is not a good way to use relations. It's using the fixed. So let me just go back and remove it. So this is a little bit of a preview of it. Is if I want to delete a relation that I have, I may mix up the wordings with constraints and relations. One term is used in Inventor, the other one is used in Solidworks. So it might take you guys a couple times to get back to just thinking of relations when thinking of Solidworks. Again, if you don't see these two icons that I see here after drawing them, what you need to do is go to the show hide and click on this icon right over here. See, now they're off, now they're on. So that's how you get it. Now, if I wanted to delete a relation that I already added, just a simple one like this fixed one over here, all I have to do is just hover over it, click on the fixed one, use my delete button, and now my fixed relation is gone. Now let's say I didn't want to use this one because I forgot how to click it, and I want to delete that constraint still. All you need to do again is just click on the circle, and it's going to open up the properties of that circle, and it will show you which existing constraints you're currently using. If I want to get rid of the fixed one, I go here, right click, delete. I could delete one. I could delete all the constraints that are linked to that one piece. In this case, I only had the fixed option. So now you may ask yourself, Rob, you keep saying the word relation over and over again. What does it mean? So a sketch relation, what it does, it helps you define the sketch entity by relating them or constraining them to other sketch entities. So like if you're using lines, you can make them parallel and so forth. Sketch relations can either be added or assumed by SOLIDWORKS through built-in features. For example, the polygon tool. When you're doing that, it automatically, if you put that you want 6 sides as one dimension, it's automatically going to do that for you. And please take note that all relations can be seen and edited using the display icon I showed you before, and also in the properties of that relation. So now let's show you how to use relations to define your sketch. Let's get rid of this lovely circle I made. And now let's draw 2 lines. So I'm going to go use the line command. So now earlier in the previous videos, I showed you guys how to do lines independently. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to draw one line, click and let go, and another line, click and let go. So we get kind of like a V-shape drawing. All right. So now we're going to add relations, and we're going to choose 2 relations we're going to use. The first one we're going to use, which automatically most times happens by itself if you're going down a straight line. So if I click on this line, you see by just clicking on the line, I get the pop-up right over here saying, do you want horizontal, vertical, or fixed? So if I were to do vertical, you notice my line becomes perfectly vertical. If I would have undone that and I deleted it and I switched it to horizontal, you notice now my line becomes horizontal. So depending on what you are using, it's going to adjust that line. So in this case here, I'll make this one here, I'll leave it vertical. And now let's go to the second one, right over here. And now let's make this one horizontal. And as you can see, we have two straight lines. And in most cases, when you are drawing a line, if you just go straight, you'll notice that it automatically adds either the horizontal or vertical, depending on which direction you're going, automatically, like it snaps for it to help you out. So those are the two simple lines using the simple vertical and horizontal constraints. Now let's say you want to connect them. There's a couple ways you could connect them. So for example, if I grab this edge here, I hold control on my mouse and I grab this edge here, and I want these two not to connect but to align to each other, I do have the option as well to make them horizontal to each other. So you notice that this point here and this point here become aligned. So that if I press OK or check mark and I try to move this line, you notice as I'm moving it, it's always going to stay, even if I go up. I said if I go up, but this one should have never moved this way. This one should have been, did I delete the constraint? This one here should have been vertical. There we go. I had deleted that constraint for some reason. You notice that if I'm moving my mouse, it's always going to stay horizontal or vertical or horizontal, whichever way this is going, to that shape that I'm drawing right over here. All right. So it's kind of, remember how I did that is I clicked the one edge, hold control on my keyboard, the other endpoint here, and then if I wanted to show you, I could do horizontal, vertical, and it's going to push it together next to each other. This is not a recommended thing to do. Press OK. Seems to work. Edit sketch. And you're still in the sketch. So if you notice, it's stuck together, but it's not something I wanted to show you for that part. For this part here, we can use the relation called merge in this case. So what we'll do is, again, we're going to click 1 point, 2 points, and now that they're vertically horizontal, I have the option right here to merge my relation. I click merge, and now my lines are connected. So if I were to move this point here, you see that they're stuck together. If I go left or right, they're always combined as a union. So now that we've done the horizontal and we've done the vertical, we're going to go move on to another one. 1 second, I'm just trying to do my checklist here of stuff I've done. We've done the merge. Now we're going to go use coincident. So what this one here does is we're going to connect a line, and you're going to see what happens in a few seconds. So I'm going to draw another line right over here. And I'm going to draw it from one corner, from here to here. I just drew another line. So I have my L shape backwards with another line here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the point of the line right over here. And I'm going to click this point right over here. And now, not the line, sorry, this point here with this line here, I meant to say. And now you see we have the coincident right over here, which is going to attach it to that line. So what does that mean exactly, you may ask? Oops. My computer is crashing. Give us 2 seconds for it to move. So what it means is that if I were to move this piece here, or I move it this direction, no matter where I'm moving it, at one point or another, even if I move it infinity, it's going to be coincided with this line. See, if I go far away, it's, oops. If I go far away, it's going to go. If I go closer, it gets bigger, but always along that path that I'm following. That eventually, each of them, no matter which side I'm extending, will eventually intersect at a point when possible when moving around. It doesn't have to, it could be beside it, but it will also go next to it. The next relation I want to show you is going to be the midpoint one. So if I click this object again and see if it works, click this point here, and I go to the middle, which is the guy there, and I click. You see I have the option for, from here to here. I clicked the line and the point. I have the option to click midpoint. Now what it did, it made it in the midpoint of that line. So no matter what I move it, it's going to stick to the midpoint of that line. So let me just show you that again. I went a little too fast on that one. Let me just let it float around. Okay, so it's moving or it still has a relation. So let me just delete the previous relation I did. Click on the line. You notice right now I have none, but if I click on that point, you see I have the one I did earlier. Right click, delete. Now my line is free. And if I wanted to make the midpoint of this line, I click the point, the object, or the line in this case, come on, from here to here, holding control. And I always hold control when you're choosing the two lines, and I could do midpoint of that object. So now when I move it, bigger or smaller, it's always going to stay in the midpoint of the line. If I want to show you parallel, let me just show you two lines, like so. And I want to make them parallel. I grab one line, grab a second line, and then I'll have the option to make them parallel to each other. That was one way. If I want to go the other way, I go parallel again. I'll choose this one first, and this one. I think see if it does a difference. Parallel. And now it's going to this guy. If I go the opposite direction, I click him first, and then him or her. I go here, and it's going to adjust in the same thing. So that's the parallel. Then you have the perpendicular. Let's see if I go here. Can I use the same ones? Let's go get rid of these, the ones I just did. Parallel, delete. Let's see if I could click from here to here. Perpendicular. So now they're perpendicular to each other. If I pull this through, you notice that it's perpendicular to each other. Then you also have the option for the equal relation. Let me just get rid of this. Draw a line like so, and draw 3 extra lines here, one here, one here, one here. And I want to make them equal. I go 1, hold control, 2, 3, and now I have the equal button. So now they're all equally spaced. If I go move one object, did I not make them equal? Let's try it again. Not equal. Actually, they should have been equal. 1, I used the wrong command. 2, 3. Oh, they're all equal to the same height. So if I were to go change this one here, for example, they're all going to equal. This is what I meant to say. They're all going to be the same heights back and forth. That's the equal command. So even if I have circles, for example, and one circle is this big and one is this small, if I go use the relation, if I click this one here and this one here, and I go do equal, it's going to make them equal to each other. The next one I want to show you is going to be the one for concentric. So now in this case, I have the circles identical to each other, so I won't touch that one. But let's do a bigger circle like this. Now I have 2 circles here, or 3, and I want to make this concentric to this circle. All I do is click 1, click the second circle, and now I have the thing to do concentric, which places it in the middle of that object. If I wanted this circle to be tangent with this circle as well, same exact one, I click the outside of this one, and I have the option to make tangent as well. So they're going to be tangent to each other. So if I try to move it, I gotta put a dimension for that so they stop growing together. But they'll be able to play. See, it's going to be tangent. There's no dimension, so it's going to keep changing. But it will be tangent around that one circle as you go around. And again, if you ever want to delete one, for example, if I don't want these two to be the same, I click on this one here, go to equal radius, and I could delete that radius. And now if I change the size of this person here, the other one inside won't be affected. And if I want to move it around, see, it grows back and forth. So when you are creating a sketch, try to use relations to fully define that sketch. it will allow you to use less dimensions. So relations allows you to update dimensions while also they keep their relations. So just remember that. So now click on the first line and you'll see if I want to delete again, I click on any line I want. By the way, the properties is just this one right here. If I click on this line here, it'll tell me which relations I'm using. I could delete them all again, I said. I have extra here. Every so often when one is recommended, so let's say I get rid of the vertical, delete, and I put this at an angle like this, right? If I click on this relation, you'll notice that it always gives you a suggestion one that's in dark. So for example, vertical, which is going to take to make it go straight up, use that as well.